The next word on my list, would you like to know what that is? Context. Context. Context goes hand in hand with relative or subjective. So when you realize that something is relative, it's subjective, the next thing is to apply context. Well, let's apply context and see if the entire story don't change here. That's what we did when I was telling you about the crocodile, right? We applied the context of this is not just me picking on a defenseless animal. This is me trying to save my daughter's life. Now the abuse doesn't seem so terrible, does it? I'm still abusing the animal, but the context changes everything. It goes hand in hand with the word relative or the word subjective. When my daughter was very young, I remember one morning we got up. So the night before, she wanted to watch lots of movies. So we watched a bunch of movies. I think she was 3. And it got to be 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. She had never stayed up that late before in her life. I kept saying, honey, you don't want to go to sleep? No, Dad. No, Daddy. I want to stay up and watch movies. And I could see her head like doing the drippy thing and her eyes wanting to close and everything. But I said, well, the benefits here outweigh the cost. This is something that she really enjoys doing. It's time we get to spend together. I'm going to let her do it. She can sleep tomorrow as much as she wants. So can I. So the next day, she finally fell asleep. I finally fell asleep. And the next day, she was just not being herself. She was totally out of character, getting barky at me, kind of like, kind of like an angry cat nipping at me at 3. And this is totally out of her character. She's so sweet. Under well-rested circumstances where she's feeling real good, never would she do anything like that. But she was kind of being disobedient. She was being snippy. And at first, I started to get angry. But then I thought, wait a second. I know my daughter. I know that this is not how she is normally. Let's apply some context. And of course, then I remembered, well, we were up until almost 2 o'clock in the morning the night before watching movies. She's never done that before. She's 3 years old or 4 years old. I don't remember what it was. She's never stayed up that late before in her life. This little tiny girl, this delicate little girl, didn't get her sleep. She got up earlier than I thought she was going to get up this morning. Of course she's going to act like this. She's a human being, and she's not just a human being. She's got more limits than normal human beings because she's a baby. She's a child. Once I applied that context, I remember all the frustration that I felt on me, which was about up to my ears, just went, I just felt it like slosh out of my body, just like that. So from frustration and anger, well, the kindlings of anger. It's like the kindling had been lit. Going from that to just feeling no anger at all. And actually amusement and empathy and sympathy for my daughter. Like magic. Just from applying context. It's such an important word. Like I said, goes in hand with the word relative or subjective. Both are the same thing, relative and subjective. But I include both because I like both.